It's once again that time of year. Hello, welcome to week 6. I'm your instructor, Brian Baker. You already knew that. I'm probably going to stop introducing myself in these videos. It's really unnecessary. Hey, before we talk about what we're doing in week 6, let's talk about some issues you might be having. There is a known issue with My IT Lab. It has come to light recently that there is a third-party product out in the market called Grammarly. Grammarly is a fine product, I'm sure, lovely. What it does is it helps your grammar as you are writing emails, writing word term papers, whatever. It's sort of pervasive. Whatever application you happen to be using, Grammarly is constantly checking your grammar, your spelling, things like that, suggesting other words, etc. Grammarly, like I said, I'm sure is a great product, but it is a pervasive product. It has a daemon that is constantly running in the background. That is not necessarily evil. Daemon is a word in computer science that's used to describe any system program, system software, like last week, that is constantly running in the background, listening and waiting, and then to do its work. And then when something happens, it sort of springs into action. A good example would be your copy and paste daemon, right? Your operating system has a program that is constantly running in the background, listening for you to either cut or copy some sort of text. And when you do that, it sort of leaps into action. It saves that content to a clipboard, and you can paste it anywhere. It's tied to the operating system because it needs to be in order to be able to, handle copying and pasting, cutting and pasting from any application to any other application. This is an example of a daemon. In other words, don't worry about the word daemon. It's fine. It's normal computer science stuff. But they get the name from the hiding in the background and sort of leaping into action when something happens, kind of like a mythological demon or a real demon, depending on your belief system. I'm not here to judge. Regardless, there is a conflict between the Grammarly program and My IT Lab. And so if you're having problems with My IT Lab and you happen to be using Grammarly, that may be your issue. Unfortunately, there is no good fix right now. Maybe a patch will come out before the end of the semester. That would be great, but I don't think we can really depend on that. And so the solution in the meantime is just to uninstall Grammarly, unfortunately, for the rest of the semester. So, or until the patch comes out that allows them to work together nicely. Now, if you're using Grammarly and you don't notice this problem, that may just be because you're on a different operating system or somehow you're okay. So if you don't notice a problem, don't worry about it. But if you are noticing a problem with My IT Lab and you are using Grammarly, your solution at this point is just to uninstall Grammarly until the semester is over. Wish I had better news. Sorry. Another issue you may have had. You may have looked at My IT Lab last week and said, hey, there's a lab test up here. Are we supposed to be doing that? Should I be doing that? The answer is no. Apparently, reading calendars is tough, I guess. And I screwed up. So anyway, I decided I would just leave it up. If you happen to have noticed it early and you actually did the lab test, well, great. This is going to be an incredibly easy week for you. But for everybody else, don't worry about it. You weren't even meant to see it until this week. And honestly, we've removed practically everything from this class this week, so you can just focus on the lab test. So there's going to be plenty of time. Don't worry about it. You didn't need to start it. If you saw it, I apologize for the confusion. It was there early, but you're still going to get your full 2 weeks from this point going forward. And yeah, sorry. All right, so why don't we just get into what we're doing this week? What we're doing this week is a word lab test. That's it. There's no chapter reading. There is no discussion. There is no quiz because there's no chapter, right? We've removed everything from the class schedule this week so that you can just focus on the lab test. Now, part of that is because I also know that there's a number of people who are, despite my warning in the very beginning of class, are actually working a week behind. And so this week you would normally be doing your lab for Word 4, the Chapter 4 for Word, the 4th Word lab, however you want to say that. You'd be doing your last lab in Word, and then next week you would start working on the practical. What I'd like is to try and give you a little bit more leeway to sort of catch up before we move on to Excel. And the idea is that it's kind of nice to have these maybe lighter weeks where, this is a summative assessment. We're finishing things up, and hopefully the next week we can start Excel all together, all ready to go. So point being, there's nothing on the calendar, nothing in your modules this week except for that Word lab test. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on this week. If you've already did it last week because of my calendar mistake, then you have absolutely nothing to do this week. Now, I will say that in the course content section of this week's module, there are going to be two videos. Those two videos are going to help you. The first one is how to actually do the practical exam. It goes through all the steps, sort of step by step. Practical exam works pretty much the same whether you're in CIT 12 or 15. I think I used 12 as an example. So if the first question is different, don't freak out about it. But it's the same process. You're going to download files from my IT lab, one of which will be a Word document that has a bunch of instructions. One will be the Word document you're supposed to work on. And then there'll be some other files, this will be true for all the lab tests, that you need in order to do it. Like if I have you insert a picture, I'll probably include that picture, etc. So you've got the Word document you're going to be modifying as your test. By following those instructions on the side. Shouldn't take terribly long, but I want you to take your time, kind of make sure you're doing things right. It's not hard, it's just tedious. And there may be some things where it's, I need to go back and I need to check and remember how to do that exactly. That's fine, that's part of this process. So anyway, you download the files, you modify your one document. Now, the first instruction is to rename the document. Be sure to rename the document. I don't care what you name it to, but sometimes people will download the files and then they often come as a compressed file. And so then you need to right click, choose extract all, and you'll do it. But in the meantime, you now have a compressed version of the file and an uncompressed version of the file. The fact they're compressed or uncompressed is irrelevant. The fact is they have the same name. And so at some point, you're going to upload your file for grading. The number of times that students will accidentally upload the first version, the one that they didn't make any changes to, and then they get a 0, and then they freak out. Okay, in this class, don't freak out. I have yet to run across a life circumstance for which the optimum solution is panic. Never has happened. I've only been alive 40 years. I still got some more left, so maybe I'll run into it at some point, but at this point, panicking just seems like a terrible response to any problem. I'm here. You can just email me the file. I can load stuff on the back end. I can maybe just get rid of your thing so you can upload the right file. I'm not going to fail you because you uploaded the wrong file, right? I want to fail you for good reasons, not for, bad reasons. But secondly, it's such a common issue. Just rename it anything, rename it like I am the one to upload, or put your name on it or something. The system doesn't care what you rename it. I'm sure the instructions have something you're supposed to rename it. It doesn't matter. The whole point of that is just that you upload the one you actually did the work on. And that just happens a lot. It's probably the number one problem with the practical. So if we can eliminate that, let's do it. Rename the file, make sure you upload the one you actually worked on and not the one that you downloaded from my IT lab originally. Incidentally, speaking of grades and the lab test, when you upload the file, you're going to get a grade immediately from my IT lab. This will be the computer graded something. Now, this is our first year switching to Office 2016. I don't know how well this assessment will actually work with the grader. So, it may be quite accurate. It may not be so accurate. Needless to say, I'm going to go in as a human being afterwards and take a look and see kind of what it asked and what people were getting wrong. Sometimes if I see a pattern where a lot of people are getting something wrong, I may say that the instruction was vague and give some partial credit there. Point being, there's going to be an adjustment. It's almost always an adjustment upwards. I'm never going to take away points. But I assume I will never take away points. Point being, it'll be an adjustment upward of your grade. So don't worry about the automatic grade you get. There will be a slight adjustment, preferably upwards, on your lab exam. But I will say, if you are using the Mac version of Office, right? The current Mac version of Office is more similar to the PC version than ever before. However, there are still some differences. I know, for instance, that when you try to add the cover page, you're not going to have the sideline style. That's just not a style that's available on the Mac version of Office. So you're going to choose a different style. I don't know if the system is going to grade you wrong because you used the wrong style. Spoilers, on the last version, it didn't. You were fine. You just needed to upload a style. It didn't matter which one. If you're on the PC version, choose sideline, or whatever one it tells you, because that's the correct one. But on the Mac side, you know, just choose one that seems appropriate, right? And then the idea is that I'll go in and manually grade you, but it's helpful for me to know that you are a Mac user. So send me an email saying, hey, I'm using the Mac version, just wanted to tell you, and then I'll add you to my list, and I'll know that, okay, if these Mac users are having an issue with this part of the exam, it's likely that you are as well, and I can adjust that for you. All right, so anyway, yeah, so if you're a Mac user, email me. Otherwise, there is a video with tons of, not tons of instructions, with just the right amount of instructions showing you how to actually do your lab test. In addition, there's a second video showing you how to download Microsoft Office for free as a Fresno City College student. So if you don't own Microsoft Office, do not go out and buy it. You get it for free as a student. Take advantage. We pay money to Microsoft for it. So like, nobody's getting anything for free. Like, it's just part of your enrollment here at Fresno City College. So take advantage of it. That works if it's PC or Mac. You'll get the appropriate version for your computer. There's a video with instructions in the module. So take advantage of that. And that's it. Seriously, it's just a word test. And then after that, you're done. For some people, hopefully this is a good time to catch up. Again, before we start our unit on Excel. Next week, we'll have a chapter discussion, everything like normal, but this week, a little bit less, all right? So have a great week, and I will probably not see you online because there's no discussion, but, you know, I'm sure you'll email me if you have problems or something.